Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. Little bee guy is right here.
Did they get
Yep,
Mama Bee too?
he popped in. Well, the other Mama Bee went away, but I figure they should know where their home is still, right? Well, that one guy didn't know.
Maybe, I don't know. We've lost bees otherwise.
That's true. Let me go see if I can find this. But anyways, we're going to inform
All
you
right, so yeah.
how caucuses work.
All right, so a primary, that's the most standard form of election that we have in the United States, where you go, you cast a vote, or you mail in your absentee ballot, or whatever. You go somewhere, you place a vote,
Right.
and that's it. Like you say, this is who I want to be the thing, and then you leave. Well, a caucus, on the other hand, which is what Iowa is, or how Iowa votes. Everyone is got a time that they're supposed to arrive, and everyone has the same time. So it's not like, hey, your time is to be here at 4:00 and your time is to be here at 7. Everyone, like yesterday, everyone's supposed to be in Iowa at their precinct at 7:00 Central Time. So everyone arrives at 7. If you're late,
everyone in the state of Iowa.
Yes. So everyone has their own precinct. Or like a lot of them are like basketball stadiums and stuff like that, depending on how big your precinct or county is, whatever. Well, the county in which your precinct is in, I should say. All right, so they arrive, and then whenever you first get there, they changed the rules slightly this year. So they used to not record your vote when you got there and when you left. It used to just be like they like gave out delegates based on the final. But so anyways, whenever you get there, they ask you, all right, who do you support? All right, so like if it's you, you're like, I support person A, and I'm like, I support person B, and they're like, all right, if you support person A, go stand in that corner. If you support person B, go stand in that corner, and so on. Like person B, person C, D, E, so on. Everyone's got their little spot they're supposed to stand.
And then they the lowest one, kind of like my fire department, gets voted out, and those people then disperse to a different spot, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So like if your candidate, like let's say you were really into person A doesn't get 15% of the vote in your precinct, then they're no longer considered a viable candidate. So now that they've been deemed unviable, now you have to say, all right, fuck this, I'm going home, or
I'm throwing
fuck this, I now like person B. And then once everyone's viable, that number's recorded and everyone goes home.
I mean, it's different, I guess, but why does it involve standing?
Well, I mean, you mean someplace you were sitting in your corner.
But why can't I just write down my list?
Oh, you mean like if not A, then B, then C, then D,
and I hand that in. And
well, the reason why is because the reason why caucuses exist is because back in the day we didn't have the internet or a constant news cycle and stuff like that. So like people would go to their town hall and they would learn about the candidates to some degree. Like they'd go in and be like, I know a little bit about A, but I don't know so much about B or C. But as far as I know, I'm voting for A. And then I mean, like, you could choose before you like are all in. Like when you first get there, people in like group B could be like, hey person, I hear you're here for A, but before you cast your first vote and determine if your candidate is viable, let's talk about person B a little bit. So like the point was that there was a time whenever we didn't have like the internet and all this stuff, so there wasn't all this information out there, and you could go here and become informed, or quote unquote informed based on the people that are also there. So that's why it exists.
Wouldn't it be fun if they did the actual presidential election that way?
Oh my God, there'd be blood.
Stood for a day, like can you imagine the last election? It was just like there's like 51% of people standing in Hillary's corner and 49% in Trump's corner, but somehow he still wins, and it's like
yeah. Well, Iowa's not doing much better. Like God, that whole thing, all of the Iowa thing has just been a nightmare. So they hired a company to develop an app to report, because like I said earlier, they didn't used to report first in votes, last out votes, or whatever. They just reported like the number of delegates that were being provided.
Okay.
So now that they've changed this, they thought, well, we need a better way to report these numbers. So let's buy an app. Let's make it a phone app that lets us report these numbers easily into the Iowa Democrat group. So they hired this company called Shadow Inc., which could probably use a better name, but that's all right.
Look at our bee family.
So it says it takes about 20 minutes for the baby bee to grow up. He's a little tiny guy though.
I can't get more honey from this place.
Oh yeah, it's got to get like dripping again. I don't know how the other one works that we made. I guess we'll see. But anyways, so they bought this app, and last night when they went, they didn't test it because I mean that's
That'd be
absurd,
silly.
right? So last night when they went live time, whenever people would submit their data in the app, like the final step of the data submission was also to take a picture of the like paper ballot that they have once they did their counting, and then submit it. And then what they were noticing on the other end was that like, hey, the stuff you've got written down in this paper ballot doesn't match the numbers that are coming in. So there's a bug here, and like it don't work. So like an hour into Iowa caucusing, they just like shut it down. They were like, all right, keep caucusing, write everything down on paper, but like this app just don't work. Which of course results in all these people like crying foul, and like there's all this drama today because I guess Pete's campaign had hired that company in the past to write an app for like emailing or email tracking or something.
Now are they saying that what he's like trying to already overthrow the election?
Right, yeah, there was people accusing Pete of cheating because his company had done business with the company that wrote the crappy app. Which I mean, I find that highly unlikely that there was that they paid off this this app developer, because if for one thing, the people that believe this conspiracy theory, if that's the case, they would have made sure the app worked.
Yeah. I did hear that Trump was already trying to, like, according to stories that I heard, that Trump was already trying to throw shade at the whole process to basically already set the stage for election tampering in case he loses.
Well, what he said, his campaign said, not Trump. But what his campaign said, it wasn't that. It wasn't that, look that there's already fraud. What he was saying was, or his campaign was saying, is these are the people that want to run the government and their healthcare, but yet they can't even run in a single state election.
And we have a president who can't even win the popular vote.
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna say about on that regard, and what's funny about that is because that's all the Democrats cried foul in 2016 because he didn't win the popular vote. But meanwhile, fucking Iowa's awarding delegates to the person that didn't win the popular vote in Iowa.
That is true. Well, because where did that happen? Like when we did talk about this before, was it at the 2016 election? Some of those seats, because wasn't there one big case where they kept recounting in one of the cities for some of those seats, and one guy who was way lower on the poll. God, where the fuck was it? Way lower on the polls. They ended up deciding to just go with the coin flip because the election, like the reballoting, was getting ridiculous, and the guy that was known to be like the non-winner, won because of the coin flip.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember that.
I'm just trying to remember what state that was in. And I can't remember if it was the 2016 election or if it was the 2018 like midterms.
I'm not sure about this. I don't remember this. I've forgotten it.
You have forgotten.
I had forgotten about us talking about the coin flipping before, honestly.
Coin flip.
Like the Iowa coin flipping last. I guess it probably was 4 years ago that we talked about this.
Last night's I don't know if it was Iowa's that we talked about though. Maybe it was coin flip, caucus.
I mean, it probably was because there's not a lot of states that still have caucuses. Caucuses is like a thing that's getting phased out because they're fucking stupid.
See, all these are from, of course, now it's like it's everything.
Right, you're not going to get anything that's
yesterday. It's not from
recent news cycle stuff.
Right.
I don't understand. There's one thing I don't understand, and that's
coin toss fact check. No, coin flips did not win Iowa for Hillary Clinton. This is
there's a lot of people that accused Hillary of winning Iowa because of coin flips.
This is 2016. Maybe that's when we talked about this then. I don't remember it being about a caucus though. I thought it were about Clinton though. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just remember we did talk about it before because I didn't know that was
right.
That was the case. Yeah, I don't know if we can ever get to a good place with our government again.
I mean, in terms of being in a good place, I think we're in deep shit now that we've given the president
I think I'm gonna
the
make these
the
guys
ability
angry.
to.
They're angry. They're angry. Oh God!
What'd you do?
I got them honey. I got me the honey.
But yeah, now that we've said the president can't break the law, it's strange times we're living in.
I know. Who'd have thought that would ever make a law? God, the kid's after us too.
That's funny. Yeah, I was at my daughter's school a couple days ago, and the Pledge of Allegiance and everything, and like it ends with the liberty and justice for all, and I was like, huh, well, there's no justice for the president.
It also
Just do whatever he
has
wants. There's no laws.
It also has under God in it, even though our country was founded on
Yeah,
religious freedom, which I've always found
right.
strange.
Yeah,
Like, how can you put God as such a front and staple part of the government with a separation of church and state and being founded on religious freedom? That always baffled me.
yeah, I agree. There's a lot of things don't make any sense.
I will tell you, something makes way more sense to me now after watching a fantastic Netflix documentary that I would suggest that you watch. After
It's about the fire festival.
No, we already talked about that.
Yeah,
No, this was actually a docu-series, but they call it a limited series, which I don't quite know what that means. But it's called Flint Town, and it's literally following the Flint Police Department in a live documentary for.
Is it an actual documentary? Or is it like a docudrama?
No,
like where it's like actors.
No, it's real.
Okay,
An actual documentary, real footage, and I will tell you, it was done fucking amazingly, which I was not anticipating when I first pulled up first decided to start watching it. It's amazing in a like scary way, and they were talking at one point, one of the cops, you can just tell that most of the cops like almost don't even care anymore because they're just so burned out and they just can't make a difference in the town. And one guy was talking about going into work and he sits down to look at the board and there's 43 calls already on the board when he sits down to start his shift. And before he leaves in his squad car, he goes, there's 50 calls on the board at this point. He's like, my night is just going to calls. I'll get to about 10 of them. And that's it. Like 40 of these police dispatches are not going to get answered.
wow.
And I was just like, I was at my fraternity house in Flint, Michigan, with people who they came into our house and tried to steal some people's purse because in our bar downstairs. And long story short, we marched them out of the house, but they got them to the parking lot and they pulled out knives. And I got on the phone with 911 on my cell phone and was literally told by the 911 operator, has anybody been stabbed yet? And I said, no. And she says, call me back when somebody does, and hung up the phone.
Ah!
And I am
Jesus Christ.
not kidding. Called back because I was baffled. And it was a different dispatcher, but made the same type of comment that if nobody's hurt right now, they're too busy to do anything. They'll try to send a police car drive through later.
Wow.
And I've never realized how just watching this documentary shows you why that was. Why the granted.
Are they just understaffed, or why is it?
They're understaffed, underpaid, like they're under everything. But
They're under
everything. But it's just it just baffles me. Granted, it was a little bit better when I was there because I'm talking back in 2004 when I went to college, living in my fraternity house when this happened. And granted, this documentary is 2016 is when it was following the police officers. So I don't know how different it was back then, but it was just like, can you imagine living in a town where like 20% tops of the 911 calls are getting appropriately responded to?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Like, what's the plan?
I don't
What's
know.
the solution?
I don't even know. Well, it was really interesting because, God, if you watch this place, the Flint police turned into basically like a military. Like they pretty much can do whatever the fuck they want to do. And the new police chief that got put in there in 2016 started the Cat Squad, he called it, and it was like the crime attack task team or something like that, crime area task team, and they basically were. Their goal is to go around to the known bad crime areas and just kind of do raids and stop people and get people stopping loitering places to, try what they can do to clean up the streets. But they're literally just fucking raiding houses and raiding cars and going up and telling people, like, get the fuck off the street. Like, just F this, F that. Like, there is, they talk about, police and fire being, there's upstanding citizens that, everybody's got to. God, these people, like, they look like. Maybe it's the way I am. Maybe it's the reason that I am the way I am is because of where I grew up and and all this stuff. But it was like the police are just walking around and just like, fuck you and fuck this and fuck that to everybody. It's like, it's off the fucking wall.
And they know a documentary's following them and they don't care.
Yeah, well, and it's not that they're doing it. There's people doing very good things. They're out there trying to get real crime off the streets, but they're not doing it in any way like you would think an upstanding police person would be doing it in. And they're doing it in such a way that's just like, clearly it's got to be crossing lines of illegality. Just, they'll come up on a guy in a parking lot, in his apartment complex parking lot, and then just, they walk up to the car and they open the door. They're like, get out of the car, get out of the car. I'm searching your car right now. Look, I found some drugs in here. And it's like, wait, what right did you have to just all of a sudden go in this guy's car and start like getting this stuff? Like the whole thing, it was so good and so amazing. I couldn't stop watching. It's only 6 episodes. It's 6 between 30 and 45-minute episodes. And the last one gets really political because it was all around the 2016 election and whether they were going to get like a millage passed to basically not have to lay off 30 cops because they weren't going to have money for it anymore. The last episode really kind of like focuses around the 2016 election and all, and what it's doing for the Flint area. And that was actually kind of cool. You'd enjoy the end of it because it was really interesting to see the Republican Democrat divide just in the police department. But I was also shocked to see in this thing that so many of the Flint cops, even so many of the ones that were the black cops, lived in Flint, like born and raised in Flint, which I thought was kind of cool. And one guy was even like, he's been a cop in the Flint Police Department for 21 years, and he's a preacher at 2 churches.
Wow.
And it's like, those things just don't seem like they go together to me like that much.
Right. Well, how are you a preacher at 2 churches? Was one of them like take a Sunday off?
I don't know. Maybe it's Sunday morning, Sunday night. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was kind of.
That's crazy.
I highly suggest, if you want an interesting watch. And an insight into where I didn't grow up. I grew up in, suburb of Flint, one of the nicer suburbs of Flint, but I did spend many years living in downtown Flint because that's where I got my, first 2 degrees from. So right in the heart of downtown Flint.
Huh. I watched a docudrama on Netflix about Tupac's murder, and it was amazing, but it was a docudrama, it wasn't a documentary. So it was like based on true things, but then they hire actors and stuff to do the stuff. But it was really good. But yeah, I'll check that out.
Dude, there is this weird visual glitch with the rain. If you come and try to chop these trees down, every log you break, rain falls on your head for a second and then it stops again.
What?
Okay, come. Where you at?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Come chop out those 2 blocks under that tree, and then go stand straight under it, and then like chop the one above you.
Right.
Oh, I'm even getting it from here as you're breaking the blocks.
I do not get this.
What? You're gonna have to watch my video when this is done. It's literally this flash of like rain, and then all of a sudden like it's like a block update screwed up or something.
It's not happening to me for some reason.
Oh yeah, it's trippy. Were you really like big into Tupac's music or his murder when it happened? And all that
no,
stuff?
I don't think I was the right age. I mean, I knew of Tupac and I listened to some of his music, but like I wasn't old enough to like follow this whole East Coast, West Coast drama, all that stuff. Like I didn't really. I mean, you hear the lyrics and that sort of thing, but I didn't really know anything about it. And so that was what was. I've read about it and stuff since I've become an adult. But I didn't, I wasn't the right age at the time. But then even what I've read, wasn't everything that like I learned by watching this docu-series, docudrama. And so I've read more since then. And like I never really knew why Biggie and Tupac got into like a fight with each other and stuff like that. Like some of that stuff I just didn't know. So it was interesting to kind of see it in an entertainment style, which is how that docudrama is.
It's good.
Even though it's all based
It's
on
good. Good.
facts.
Get rid of this rain.
But no, it's really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I never see. My problem is I don't know if I'd like something like that because I was never into.
Because why?
I was never into that type of music.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of like conspiracy stuff in there too that's kind of interesting.
That he's still alive.
No, there's none of that. But like in terms of like who killed him, like was there any? I mean, because like it's kind of like well, not to the same degree as Martin Luther King's death, but there's still conspiracy
Why does
about.
this bee keep escaping when I'm all ready to breed him?
But yeah, there's still like conspiracy theories about how much the FBI was involved in Martin Luther King's death, for example. So there's kind of stuff like that, where like the police department's involvement and those sort of things.
You never did finish Travelers the last season yet, have you?
Haven't totally. I forget it even exists until you bring it up each time.
Yeah.
Actually,
It's just so good. It's such a good like series to bring to a finale. That, however, I don't think was a documentary. Pretty sure.
pretty sure
that one has actors that are in play.
Maybe might be the tone of the future.
Can you imagine if one of those like random conspiracies was true with like you seen the ones where it's like, look, Nicolas Cage is actually this guy from 1832, and it's got this picture of the person from like way old timey, but he looks a lot like Nicolas Cage.
Right.
You
Yeah.
seen these? How random would it be if like one day time travel does get talked about and it turns out that time travel really does exist, and it'd be true to the extent where like somebody went back in time and ended up having their picture taken and then like going back to forward and doing that stuff. How mind blown would what would that do for you from a conspiracy theory perspective? Wouldn't it make you question everything?
Well, I mean, yeah, if time travel was real, then everything, like there's nothing that's not, what I mean? Like nothing that's not possible.
True.
I still believe that time travel as like the science behind time travel is possible, but I don't believe that you'll ever be able to travel back in time to like today, for example. I think it'll only be one of those things where we open up some kind of, rift, a black portal, a black hole, some kind of point in time
travel.
Well, no. I just think that no. I think it'll be with a purpose. Like, all right, I'm opening this thing here, and now you may forever travel back to this point right here where this is open, and any point beyond this too. Like, you can always like this is the point of connect, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I gotcha. Because there's some theories that are based on that, right?
I probably.
I mean, that's kind of what the Traveler's
to
theory was based on.
Was it?
You could only ever, well, sort of. It was you could never go back in time. They could never send somebody back in time earlier than the last person they sent back. That's why they couldn't just go back and fix a lot of that shit that like they would break.
Right.
So it was great. So it was the built-in like catch-all, I'm sure, in the for the movie. Like I don't know what science is behind that, but there was some rules on how that part worked. But then it always makes you question like how do they do it the first time then?
Right.
Or I guess that's how Primer works too.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
It was Seth Bling's like favorite movie for a long time. He's the one. He's the one who told me to watch it, and I've watched it like 3 times, and it is good. But God, it's so complex; it's hard to follow. But I still struggle with the concept, like the real world concept of time dilation around like the event horizon of a black hole, and how if you get close enough to it, how time will feel normal to you, but when you get back out of it, like everybody's aged like 50 fucking years. I still don't get that. That baffles me.
Well, I think it's kind of like the whole if you traveled at the speed of light, you would move like through space and time.
I'm about to anger bees again.
Oh, no. And you would even though a short period of time passed for you, time moved differently for everyone else.
Right, but I don't know why that works around like a black hole. And
I mean, I don't know anything about black holes enough to know the answer to that. But even like people that are like on the space station are like aging differently than we are because their time is being moved differently.
it's just such a weird concept to me. You watched the movie Interstellar? Is that it?
Yeah,
What did you think of that one?
I liked it.
I got.
But yeah, that's the one where
I thought the
I
ending
think he
was
comes back home and like his whole family's dead, basically, right? Because
I don't think he ever makes it. Oh no, he makes it back to some place. Um, and his whole family is older for sure. But even at one point, they had to go down to some planet, and it was, one guy's like, "I'll stay on the ship and I'll wait for you," but it's like every hour down on this planet, 7 years are gonna pass up on the ship, and they end up getting
Right.
stranded and taking longer. When they get back, the guy's like, "It's been 23 years I've been waiting for you," and they've only been
Wow.
gone for like 3 hours, and I'm like,
right.
just conceptually, this blows my mind. This. And that's
Like I said, it
and
happens
that's
on a
supposedly
smaller
real
scale, even
science
with
is
our
based
people,
on all
like,
that.
on our space station. So like it technically already happens on just like a much smaller scale. So there's the science is definitely there behind this.
Right. It just blows my mind. Just
I've not done anything these 2 episodes, but run around.
that's
That's
what
literally
I've
all
been
I've done.
trying to get like more beehives and get more honey, and starting this bee army is hard.
I don't know the point of the bees still. I'm still not sure what they do
If
and
we
what
had a
their point.
time machine, we could have
Yeah,
them
yeah,
in a previous
right.
snapshot, and we would make our videos would be the best videos on YouTube.
Maybe we'll start in the next episode.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next time.
See it.